we can just get started with a brief overview about you guys and your project and what you hope to bring to this space. And if you guys have questions by any chance, feel free to post them in the AMA questions, as I mentioned earlier.
Sure. I am Mortal. I am the founder CEO of Vinter DeFi. So at Vinter DeFi, we are building building an integration between DeFi gaming and auto staking rewards. The vision at Vinter DeFi is to build an ecosystem where we'll be hosting different kinds of simple yet addictive and high return games where all the members of a community will be able to play using our Vinter token and earn great profits depending upon their skills. So we are a community powered project. Means that the token holders will also be the stakeholders and will be getting a reward for holding their tokens in the form of auto staking rewards. So that's a very basic introduction, but I will not go too deep into this. I'll let Ted go more details into it. So Ted, whenever you're ready.
Of course. So, what we are is we're basically an auto staking protocol that is community powered. What this means is that, we do have a collection of on-chain games called the Vinter games, and we have our very own auto staking token called Vinter. Correct. So Vinter is, not only our play to earn utility token, but it's also sort of a stakeholder token because our token holders will, receive revenue in terms of, revenue from Vinter games through auto staking rewards, price appreciation through buybacks of the token itself. And, we are starting off with 100,000 APY on our rebase token. However, this would be reduced, ultimately to be at a very sustainable level over epochs. And that's one thing that really differentiates us from, the crowd itself. Something else interesting that I'd like to talk about is, we see a lot of rebase tokens in the space like Safu, like Titano, and we're able to really see the volatility in these tokens itself. The reason that there's so much volatility is because there's no properly systematically controlled supply method. There's no mechanism put in place to actually promote the sustainability and longevity of the token. What we've done here is we've included a max supply. We've capped it at 1 billion, which is 100x the initial supply. And, we're also doing burns and buybacks in order to sustain the price. Something really different to note is that when we burn our tokens, when we remove them out of circulation, the burnt tokens also rebase. So, that's something really interesting to note. And we're not sending it to a wallet with, that can be accessible, that has, that we've accidentally forgotten the seed phrase. We're sending it to an actual dead address that cannot be accessible at all. And this really, enhances the deflationary aspect of our token. So overall, we will be starting out with a skill-based prediction game for the price of BNB, Ethereum, Bitcoin, where you can bet using Vinter or BNB and receive your rewards. If you predict correctly, you would receive an exponential return in rewards. If you predict wrongly, the general consensus is that you'd lose all your money. However, we're finding a work around this so that it's a very beneficial system to even try to play, but lose, learn from your mistakes, try to repeat the same thing again. Overall, our roadmap is very specific at the moment. We have our pre-sale coming up on 2nd September, and our public sale is tentatively the end of September, with the IDO being about 24 hours right after the public sale concludes. So yeah, that's a very, I think we went quite deep into what Vinter DeFi actually is. On the surface, it may seem simple, but there's a lot of underlying mechanics that really differentiate us and make us stand out from the crowd. Mortal and I will be welcoming your questions, so please feel free.
Yeah, we have a few in the. It seems that they're posting the wrong one. But I have a question about just the team. I'd like to know a little bit more about your roles in the project, and also just in general, like just about the team. I imagine there's more people on it.
Yeah, so right now we are a team of 5 co-members. I am the developer as well. Ted is our CPO. We also have a graphics designer and 2 managers to manage our communities. We will be actually expanding our team right after pre-sale. We are looking to launch towards the end of September. So we will need to speed things up, and we'll be getting on board at least 1 or 2 developers as well, and as well as probably some more people for the game aspect as well.
Cool.
Does this answer your question, or do you have?
Yeah. I just wanted to
follow-up
know like about like the team's experience, like if you guys, because so and play to earn gaming, I assume like crypto gaming, is kind of a niche, and it had quite a big season last year. So I'm really curious as to whether the team has a lot of experience, like towards the tail end of last year, we saw like a big like drop in like popularity of products. A follow-up question could be like, why did you go that route with play to earn gaming? And if you guys have a lot of experience with that as well.
Yeah, so I think Ted would like to answer this, right?
Yeah, of course. So, we're not actually an immersive experience GameFi protocol. We're not, creating a fantasy world where you can have an RPG experience. This is more of a skill based and something that you can do along the fly and still be rewarded for it. So it's sort of blending what is convenience as well as feasibility into such a protocol. And that's what makes us different from a lot of the traditional play to earn games like Axie, like Illuvium, that are more time consuming, take longer for you to actually get rewarded, and they of course have a lot of complicated underlying mechanics, graphics, user interfaces as well. Regarding the team's background itself, the entire team has been in and out of DeFi, coming up with a lot of the product management from my side. I've done management consulting for certain play to earn games. You guys might know the Sandbox, Rev Racing. I've done management consulting as well as advisory, helped them grow their user acquisition. So that has also been there. But what we're working with is, I would say, something very much DeFi oriented when it comes to games. You could even think about certain things that might be towards the side of derivatives, like prediction betting, even I would say auto leverage indexes. That's the experience that we want to bring onto DeFi gaming itself and make it something very simple and easy to access.
Okay, sounds cool. Yeah, I don't think I've encountered. Well, I've seen kind of similar like betting platforms, if I'm getting the right read from that. That sounds cool. I do want to.
Well, I just want to add in over there. We're not outright doing something as betting as a service, or I don't want to compare us to a very casino styled protocol. That's not what we're doing. We do plan to integrate certain partners, certain tokens into some of our games. But that's as far as we'll go. We don't really endorse gambling or anything like that. A price prediction game, for instance, it's kind of different in the way that you are betting on a certain price, but it's more like the right term here would be leveraging.
So is it kind of like I don't know if you've heard of Pancake Swap? They have some sort of like platform on there where you can kind of do something similar to that. I imagine it's kind of those types of games.
Correct. So our first game would be something very similar to Pancake Swap's candle prediction game, but we're gonna release a more gamified version of it.
Okay, cool. I don't know, when I first read your name, maybe I can ask about the inspiration behind the name, but I was like Vinter DeFi, and then when I started thinking about like games and things, I'm like, oh, like I don't know, like like winter. I don't know. That's probably a reach, but I was getting the impression of kind of more play to earn, like a I don't know how to describe it, but just other types of play to earn games. But it's good that we made that clarification.
Yeah,
I think
it's definitely in the scope of the things that we're thinking of doing. We're gonna start out simple, and as we are able to build certain game revenue, as we are able to do increased user acquisition, we're of course thinking of something more immersive, more I would say more experiential.
okay. So I'd like to ask a little bit about just kind of how the funds will be planned on being used. I think a big issue for a lot of projects these days that I'm seeing is, I do want to know like why you chose a certain amount, if there is a hard amount, and if not, I would like to know your reasons. I'm seeing a lot of pre-sales kind of, projects who raise too much money. I'm not sure if you've heard of the project I'm referring to, but they raised about like $2 million, for example, and they kind of just failed, I think, over the course of a month.
Liquid capital.
Yeah. So I'd like to get
Yeah.
like, I guess like seeing events like that, where obviously people are raising a lot of money, do you have some sort of plan on using the pre-sale like funds that are raised, and just with that amount, like how long do you think you can keep the project going? Like, what is the plan? Like, what can you accomplish
Correct.
with pre-sale funds?
Of course. So we're a very transparent protocol. As we do call our token holders sort of stakeholders of our ecosystem itself. And of course, this information is completely transparent. So we're doing a soft cap at $100,000 for the pre-sale for the whitelist. We're doing a hard cap at $200,000. Our token price is 0.3 BUSD, which gives a possible and we do have like a price discovery approach for our public sale that's going to be at the end of September. So there's a potential, multiplier for your investment between 1.25x up to 3.33x, depending on the actual launch price. The funds, would be used like, of course, the goal is to raise $200,000. The funds would be used primarily for marketing. I would say for the development team would be about 1 month's worth of funding. And then, the rest would be for certain audits, KYCs, and necessities that are needed in order to pump up our security, ensure fair trust. Marketing would basically be allocated towards marketing for the public sale itself, where we, intend to raise a 7-figure raise at minimum. So therefore, there would be a need to use a substantial amount of funds for this to happen. Now, the public sale funds itself, a very, very large portion of it would be going directly towards liquidity. And, we're one of the first rebase protocols that are putting so much initial liquidity in itself. I can tell you, for example, Titano has about $3 million in liquidity. They've got about 17 to 18 million dollars market cap, which puts them at about 16% liquidity only. Now, this is sometimes problematic. For those that want to cash out, this is really problematic for long-term sustainability itself. And that's not us. So being very transparent, the public sale funds would go towards allocation, very big part of it for liquidity, and the rest of it, of course, to prolong the project and for certain other development purposes as well. Research and development for the new games, for instance, perhaps expanding the team if we need to, have 3D visual artists to create better games and to basically satisfy the community.
Okay. Someone actually had a follow-up question that we can kind of ask as well. So Lord Kazekage mentions the buy and sell tax seem quite high. They want to know why you guys chose that percentage. More importantly, they didn't seem to know see anything about the team and the tokenomics. So they want to know how much the team is getting paid. If you guys can answer that.
Of course. So, to be quite honest with you guys, team is getting 0 tokens. We know that having team tokens is really, it's a real issue in DeFi. People ask how will the team get paid, and this is one of the routes that we're not going down. We're not going to have any team tokens at all. Certain taxation itself of the token would fund the treasury as well as the Vinter Sustainability Fund. So treasury would, of course, be used to pay team salaries on a monthly basis. And the Vinter Sustainability Fund would be used to do buybacks, do burns, of course, prolong the sustainability of the protocol itself. And that's how the taxation is distributed.
Cool. So I see a question that I guess more and more now that time's going on, it's kind of been the meta for new DeFi projects. But I see that kind of everyone's going for the auto rebasing model. Can you elaborate on why you guys chose to go this route? And I don't know, is this just what benefits most investors? Is this what draws the most? Like, why did you go with that route?
So, we've seen that the auto rebase model, it works very, very well, without question in the early stages of any project. Titano blew up, Safu blew up, Sphere Finance had a lot of success with the auto rebase model. And that's our intention. Basically, it opens up room for a lot of user acquisition that want to get into the high APY. But we're also being transparent because we will be ultimately reducing, the overall tax, as well as the APY itself. So, eventually we plan to reduce the tax ultimately to only 10% total, which, 3% would go towards the treasury, 2% would be burned, and 5% would be an auto reflection reward. And at that point, the tax would be reduced to a very sustainable level that, is no longer considered crazy APY or crazy rebases. And this is why we have the auto reflection mechanic come in as well, which would be, as any auto reflection token, a portion of the taxes are rewarded to the token holders itself.
Okay, and Billion actually asked a follow-up question. I'm not sure if this is in the white paper or the medium, but how fast will that tax reduction be done, and how long will that take?
Of course. So after day 120, we're having the tax go down to a total of 15/20. Day 240, we're going to 12/15 for buy sell respectively. Day 370, we're going to 10/12, and then day 371 is the final stage where we're going towards 10% buy and 10% sale tax.
Okay. I also wanted to kind of ask a question in the same line of thinking. So obviously the pre-sale is coming up. I think you mentioned end of September. Were there any other sales, like seed sales or partnerships made before that?
So our pre-sale, which is essentially a private sale or a whitelist sale, call it whatever you want. I think a lot of people really confuse the term seed with a public offering. Seed sale is, a sale that is done in such a fashion that it's only reserved for institutional investors. This should not be something that's confused with a whitelist sale or a public sale or anything like that. So we do not have a seed sale. We don't have a private round. We do have a pre-sale. Now, pre-sale, of course, comes before the public sale or is the final sale. We do have a pre-sale on the 2nd of September, as well as a public sale, which means no whitelist. Anyone can invest. And that is, but at a substantially higher price, of course. That is towards the end of September. And, within 24 hours, like a day or two maximum after the public sale, we're going to go live on PancakeSwap.
Okay. Did you mention how much the difference would be for pre-sale and public sale already? I don't know if I missed that.
So, the pre-sale is going to start at 0.3. Now, the public sale, of course, we're going to do something quite different. We're not going to have a fixed price. So our soft cap price for the public sale would be 0.3 as well. However, when the soft cap allocation is filled up, or within 72 hours after the public sale is running full, we're going to have the price shift linearly upwards until it reaches the hard cap price, which is 0.8. So the launch price is also determined in proportion with the public sale price itself. For example, if it stops at 0.3, and this is just in theory, it would launch at 0.375. If it stops at 0.8, it would launch at 1.0 BUSD price. So that is the difference between the pre-sale as well as the public sale price. The maximum difference is approximately like a 2.4x.
Okay, cool. And well, I believe that's all probably in like the Medium or the doc, so I'll make sure to share that with everyone. Again, make sure to post your questions in AMA questions, guys. Go ahead, sorry.
Of course. So we don't actually have a predetermined price locked in for the public sale, but we do have foreseeable multipliers that have been posted in our Discord itself, and I'll be pushing out an article on the whitelist benefits and why pre-sale is of course the most beneficial price for the investor and what multipliers can they actually make in between pre-sale and launch price. So I'm probably aiming to push that out within today, tomorrow maximum, and I'll share it with you guys as well.
Okay, that's some great information I have. Thank you. Lord Kazekage actually asked another question. How do we get whitelist for the pre-sale? I know that you have an offer for us, but is that a certain limit to the whitelist at the moment?
So to be quite honest, we have a ton of AMAs planned out. We have certain partnerships as well planned out. You guys can either get, I think Zach, you're doing some sort of giveaway for the whitelist that we've shared with you guys. So that would probably be a way to get the whitelist itself. And the other way that you can get it is by doing social actions within our Discord and Telegram, which is to help grow our community. And we do have like certain invite tracker qualifications for this. So that's another route. It's basically a very difficult grind, but it's possible to definitely get one through that. But the easier one is just to pick one from Zach.
Yeah, so make sure to ask your question, guys. That's how you'll qualify to answer. So regarding your question, actually, we have another one from Zero. He mentioned, why did you decide on BNB chain?
So of course, as you guys know, we are planning a substantially large race at the moment. BNB chain is, and you guys know how the season is like. BNB chain is one of the seamless and easy chains to do certain integrations like this, and to create certain protocol mechanics right now. And being something that is widely accessible, widely recognized as a primary degen chain for and for our audience. So our target audience is those people that would put in low to medium and seldom high investment volumes, and that's the kind of audience that is then the BNB chain. If we were aiming for something that was going to attract a lot of wealthy investors, whales, I think the more practical option would of course be Ethereum. But that's not what the protocol is about. The protocol is to reward and be community powered. BNB chain provides a very good avenue for this.
I agree, definitely. You definitely see a lot more community engagement, I feel, in BNB and the like as well. Okay, cool. While we wait for some more questions, I'd like to kind of just ask you about the roadmap that you have, if you have one. I always like to ask, where do you see the project, a year from now, or if if you think the project will aim to be around for that long. I think you mentioned the tax reduction will be after, some even after like a year. So I'd just like to know about, your future plans for the project.
Of course. So, currently we're in Q3 2022, about to end in a few days. Our basic roadmap at the moment is to get the whitelist sale out. Then we'll do definitely we'll be building our smart contracts in DApp, which is already in process. We'll have it out on testnet. We'll do contract audit. We'll do audits for our prediction game, and then we'll start preparation for the mainnet launch. After that, we're gonna have certain things such as marketing. We're gonna have a bounty campaign as well for marketers, and we're gonna have the public pre-sale. So by Q4, we should have already launched on mainnet as per our roadmap. Then we're looking to do research and development for new play to earn games. We're looking to do DeFi partnerships and integrations, as well as games as a service. So what this means is that if we're going to partner up with, say, Avion Finance, for example, we'll basically integrate their token as a utility into one of our games, or provide them an avenue where their token holders can basically play our games and earn rewards. So that's definitely a very good way to expand and engulf other DeFi projects into our ecosystem, and that's one of the plans of extending our arms and creating sustainability and longevity for the project itself. So we're not only becoming a high performance protocol in our own realm, but we're also looking to support as well as branch out to new protocols to support them as well. After that, by next year, we're going to be doing certain, I would say, vanity items on our roadmap, such as NFT integrations, cross-chain expansion. Then we're going to be doing an upgrade on the DApp itself, as well as some of our own merchandise. After that, by the end of next year, we're going to actually have our own native decks. We have plans to make the decks and the games gasless eventually. And then, we're going to be developing both Android and iOS applications in order to make this, something, like we said from the start, that's something you can do on the fly. You can basically earn while you're in the train, or you're stuck under the rain, you're waiting for a cab. You can earn some Vinter tokens within that span of time, and we'll basically be doing more research and development to expand our entire GameFi ecosystem. After that, we're still at an inception stage, because then after that it just comes 2025.
Okay, cool. Thanks for answering that. Engi Seipuden, I see the questions that you asked. A lot of them were asked already. It's on Binance Network, and you just earn tokens by playing the games. I don't think it's something you have to download, but thanks for answering that. And Peter has a question as well.
So yeah, I understand that, there might be, some difficulty, but the downloadable aspect is just for us to actually expand to Web 2 as well, and encourage the adoption of global blockchain, so the global adoption of blockchain. So that's of course one of the reasons why we're doing something like that. The games will be available primarily on our DApp itself, which is on Web3. You can open up your computer or your phone, your MetaMask browser, and still play them the usual way as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, an app would be really interesting. I've only seen a few projects I think even think about going that route. That's the other thing too, right? Bringing Web 2 into the space. If there's anything we've learned is that a lot of people, as soon as they hear crypto gaming, it can be off-putting. So I'm wishing you the best of luck with that. It'd be really cool to see. I'd like to go ahead with Peter's question. He mentions he has some concerns about when that you can expect the first game to launch. He's saying on the roadmap that it seems like people who purchase now will be waiting for a long time for the product. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Of course. No. So the prediction game itself will come out on IDO. So we'll have at least one game available on launch, and the next one, we're planning to introduce, I think, one game every 2 or 3 months. And of course, every time we introduce a new game, we plan to make it something that's really, really scaled beyond what we previously created. Correct. So it would be the prediction game at launch.
He asked if you can describe it a bit. We kind of did a little bit already. If you've ever been on PancakeSwap, they have like a prediction. It's like a candle prediction game, I believe. Essentially, it's kind of like you're looking at a chart and you either choose like a long or a short position, and there's like a set amount of time. And if it's in your favor at the end of that timer, you essentially win a prize. It's kind of similar to that. It's a pretty fun game, actually, pretty addicting. Yeah, so I have one main concern about like projects that use like auto rebasers, especially when crypto right now, the way things are moving, it's very based on hype, and in a bear market, it's kind of hard to keep that initial attention. That's kind of where we see the tokens kind of go down. So I'd like to kind of just pick your brain a little bit about, because right now, with that new game coming out, higher APY, do you guys have any like sort of like, I don't know, like mathematical models about like how like the sustainability of the product? That's something I like to ask. Like sometimes you'll have projects where like they account for that. But like, have you guys done anything like that? Like, how long do you think, at least the initial investors will like, stay at least, above sea level with their investment? Do you have any mechanisms to prevent like dumping? I know some people are even dumping right after pre-sale for whatever reason. Do you guys have any mechanisms to protect the investor in that sense?
Of course. A very, very good question. So first off, of course, the pre-sale, which is an exponential X, is a very small amount as compared to the public sale and the initial liquidity. Therefore, we do expect a percentage to, of course, dump, because you can immediately take profits. There's no vesting. However, there's something that, with the high APY also comes the high taxation initially in the early stages, and this is what prevents, or I would say mitigate is the right word, the actual dump. So there's a buy and sell tax. Now the tax is distributed towards the treasury, the sustainability fund, and part of it goes to the Inferno, which is our burn address. Now, to answer, mathematical questions related to how sustainability is created, number one is we have a very interesting burn mechanism. So, we do have automatic burns on transactions, and we do also have certain buybacks and burns. So, like I previously explained, the burn tokens will actually rebase, therefore offsetting the actual circulating supply itself, because we do have a max supply. So in the very, very long term, you can very much expect the burnt supply to be greater than the circulating supply, because max supply equals to what is actually burnt plus what is in circulation for us. So that's how it's calculated actually. Now, of course, we're not going to pull a Brian Legend. We're not going to send it to an actual wallet address. We're going to send it to an actual dead address.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. Ted, I just had a question. In terms of marketing, getting this project out here, what sort of routes are you looking for? Both short term and long term.
So in the very short term, we have, exposure via certain investor groups, via certain alpha groups, just like Alpha Ventures itself. We are planning, an explosive amount of AMAs and things like that. I would say within 1 to 2 days itself before the pre-sale. This is usually when it creates the most FOMO, the most effect. And that's how we've staged our marketing campaign for this certain period of time. In the very long term, we do have plans to get into, I would say, a lot of YouTube, a lot of commercial marketing, a lot of ads as well, that would help to pump the public sale in itself. We will be using, like I said, a majority of the pre-sale funds to fund the marketing for the public sale, which, will once again be contributed towards the initial liquidity. In the longer term than this year or just the fundraising era, we are planning certain partnerships with other tokens by integrating, their ecosystem into ours, and also having gaming as a service. So that's one way of getting maximum exposure. People are forced to know you without wanting to know you, and this is by this is due to the basis that their project, their investment is actually working with ours, and this is a very good marketing gimmick in itself. We're also, since we branded ourselves as Vinter Games, as something that's play to earn, something that's more skill based, we do plan to, of course, have some esports partnerships as well as Web2 partnerships down the line that are more oriented towards Web3, that are willing to adopt our side of things, the DeFi side of things. So that's also something in very, very much consideration, and we do hope to be able to do a very good portion of that as well.
Interesting. In terms of like monetization, are you ever thinking about creating more of a platform where like devs can go and create games using the Vinter token for like monetization and in-game purchases, and then further like growing the whole project like through marketing on YouTube and stuff, their games and stuff? Would you ever think that's possible?
Yeah, definitely. Like I mentioned, we are going the YouTube route for a lot of these marketing purposes itself. Regarding having devs come and create, certain products on our platform in a very open source sense, that's something that probably, we won't do, because we pride ourselves more on integrating other protocols into our ecosystem. So that in itself opens up an opportunity for developers to create their own tokens, their own protocols, their own games, and basically cross integrate their protocols with ours, have their token be available for use for our games, have our token be available for use for their games. Certain protocols that we do very strong partnerships with may also share some liquidity pairs with us on our DEX at a later stage in time. And this is, the overall plan for how we're actually going to share opportunities with developers to create additional opportunities within our ecosystem itself.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Thanks for your questions, Billy. So I have one more question from Peter here. I don't know if Ted, you're about to answer that, but I would also like to know: is there some sort of plan for, if the pre-sale doesn't reach a certain amount, a certain limit, like not enough to actually continue forward with the project?
Yeah, I don't really like answering these kind of questions, so I'll pass it to Mortal.
Yeah, so we do have a soft cap and a hard cap for the pre-sale. So the soft cap, as Ted mentioned, is 100k BUSD, and the hard cap is a 200k BUSD. So we are doing a lot of work in the background to ensure that we do hit the hard cap itself. But as the question said, like and if something happens, and if it's the market is anything can happen in the market. So apparently, if we do not reach or hit the soft cap, we would not be abandoning the project, if that's what's concerned, or we would do something like we'll probably first try, depending upon how close we are to the soft cap, we will try extending the sale, pushing some more marketing campaigns, some more partnerships, trying to get a few more investors, to go beyond that cap. Otherwise, we will also look into, postponing the pre-sale, having a second round or something, to hit it with some extra marketing campaigns, a bit more pushing, and around. Yeah, so we do expect some more bullish sentiment to return to the market around ETH 2.0 merge. So we are optimistic that we'll be hitting the hard cap itself. But yeah, apparently, if something happens and we do not hit the soft cap, we'll probably take one of these measures, as I mentioned. And one extra point I would like to mention is during this time, the funds that we collect will be stored in a multisig. The entirety of the funds will be stored in a multisig, and it will not be utilized for further campaigns or anything until the soft cap is reached and we are ready to go to the next stage.
That actually brings up a good question from I think. Did you guys plan originally to release in this kind of market, or is it kind of just happenstance?
Sorry, I didn't get your question. Can you please repeat?
Did you guys, so obviously right now with the state of the market, a lot of people have left the space, or, they're a little bit wary to investing into new projects. So did you originally plan to launch around this time, or is this project been around for a long time? And like, what made you decide to kind of start everything now, or I guess launch now?
So we have been working for some time, and we do. So the plan was to launch somewhere around ETH event that's coming up. The market has been going down a bit lately, and but we do expect a little bit more bullish sentiment to return to the market around the merge. So that's why that's the main reason we kind of want to time it around that. the past few months have not been good with crypto in general, but hopefully things will turn around soon. And so in a way we did kind of plan it, somewhere near the merge. And as per the current schedule, we should be able to hit something like that. We aim to launch towards the end of September. And we expect some more bullish sentiment to return to the market by then.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna, leave if anyone has more questions. I think I'm good on them. But post an AMA questions. But while we're doing that, I just kind of want to, kind of just summarize the AMA. I know we went through a lot today, and thank you guys for asking some of the maybe more difficult questions. But kind of, I just, at the end of these, I like to ask, what just a really quick summary of just, why you think, people should consider investing in the project, details about the most emergent details about the pre-sale. I know we went through that as well. And just kind of where they can get more information or, to get their questions answered. I know you'll have some resource material in our server as well. But just kind of like one last message that you would like to say to our members.
So thank you very much, guys, for being very accommodating. Thank you, Zach and Billion, for being amazing hosts. I think we're really poised to build something revolutionary, something really deflationary and sustainable. Vinter itself is planning to take over the rebase realm and do things right in comparison with other protocols. And I do look forward to all of you joining us on this journey.
Thank you. I think it's been great AMA. I've learned a lot, and I'm definitely gonna look into this because it sounded great, and I think there's huge potential, especially in the future, for gaming, and also to incorporate. I think DeFi with this would be amazing. And thank you, Ted and Mortal. It's been really great. You guys have explained some stuff really well, and I hope to see you guys soon. Hope everyone's enjoyed this.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you again. So just to recap, I know you have your pre-sale starts on September 2nd, so you guys will have that information in the dedicated Vinter DeFi channel. If you're interested in investing into Vinter DeFi, make sure to check it out. They definitely have a lot of cool things going on. They were pretty good at answering our questions. But yeah, make sure to check out the information, read their Medium, which explains everything in a lot more detail than, maybe what was even in the AMA. Just goes over maybe some questions that you didn't get a chance to ask. Also, they have their website, their Discord, and all their socials that you need in that channel as well. I do know also Teddy mentioned something about sharing information about the dynamic cap for the pre-sales and things like that. That will also be shared there as well. So yeah, again, thank you so much for hosting this with us, and hope you guys got as much as we did out of it. And yeah, we'll stay in touch, and just thank you so much. If we ever have more questions from our members, we'll make sure to pass those on to you as well. But besides that,
Awesome.
This will be the end. So again, thank you everyone for coming. And then I'll get some more information about the whitelist giveaway from the founders, and then I'll go ahead and raffle to those who provided questions. Thank you for everyone for attending.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.